Let's just bring the arms behind just to straighten the back. Or ideally, we would like that arms behind the back. We'd like to be able to do this prayer posture, but behind the back. And now let's just breathe. Using the muscles of the belly to breathe out and bring the hands together. Using the muscles of the lower back to breathe in and separate the hands. and turning with it. Pulling in the rope. And up and down. Bring the hands up and out, forming fists and turning. Opening the fists, turning one hand down and turning the head. And then one hand behind, other hand on the knee, and pull round. Try and get the head as far around as possible. And we'll just stay like this for a minute or so. So every time you breathe out, just pull round a millimetre further. And then the other side. And the other side again. And the other side. And then lock the hands. And then the hands up, pointing the two fingers. And then just snaking the hands, keeping the eyes ahead, but being aware of the movement of the hands, so you're seeing them with your peripheral vision. And then both out again and down. And then up and out again. And now keeping the head still but moving the eyes. So the eyes pull towards the left hand and then the right. Feel the energy following the eyes. It's like you're rolling a ball along your arms into the hand that you're looking towards. And then the hands up and down. And now hands up and down, the eyes following, head trying to stay still. Rub the hands again and we'll do the knees. belly and lower back bound together like two strips of elastic. As one contracts, it stretches the other, which then contracts. When I work the muscles like this, so it's like working one set against another set, then it activates the spirit. So I become more awake, more interested. And alternating. Back to prayer. Try and feel the 5 sections of the spine. So we've got the cranium at the top, then the neck, the cervix, then the thorax, sort of middle back, chest, then the lumbar spine, the lower back, and then the sacral section. And each of them curves alternately. So the cranium is obviously like this, as is the sacrum. And then the cervix and the lumbar spine are curving the other way, and the thorax, like the positive curvature. And we just want to feel the dantians. So we've got the lower dantian, the belly, heart, head. So the heart and the head, they're associated with an actual organ. So the head with the brain and the heart point with the actual heart. And they are contained, those two organs are contained in like a protection. So you've got the back here that curves round to contain the heart, and then the cranium here, the skull, that contains the brain. Whereas this one here is not really associated, the lower dantian is not really associated with an organ. We want it more to be with the sacral part of the spine than it is with the lumbar spine. A lot of what we do in Tai Chi is just trying to flatten out the lumbar spine so that it doesn't arch back like this too much. This is why we have to bend the legs and why it's difficult. Just feel the dantian here and just feel as though it's nestling onto the sacrum or towards the sacrum. And the sacrum is curving like that to contain it and give it a slight lift. Let's just do some of the butterfly. Here we can feel the legs as sort of coming out of the sacrum, coming around and creating this sense of a container here. Imagine how it would feel if you could get your legs, your knees right down onto the floor. Here we're creating like a cave for the dantian. So feel the sacrum, hips, legs, containing the dantian. And straightening a leg. Feeling the stretch on the hamstring. The other side. And the other side again. And the other side again. And then back to the squat. I remember John used to say that the best posture, pregnant women have the best posture. So this feeling that there's something in your belly, like there's something alive down there, and you need to create space for it. So this needs to round out. So the cave of the belly. And now let's lie back and cycle with that same feeling that there's something down here in the belly. And I'm sort of cycling around it. My legs are very much either side. And feeling the outside edges. And back up and into the sumo squat. We have a new yokozuna, which you may have heard. Another Mongolian, of course. Coming up. Okay. So standing, coming back to the center of gravity. So I bend my legs in order to take my dantian down, but also to help it become contained. So if you think of the gorilla, so when it walked on all fours, but its shoulders are higher than its hips. So it's got a sort of spine that's like 45 degrees or a bit less. So if a gorilla is walking around like this and it wants to straighten up, what it does, it straightens up like this. It brings its head up, but its bum is still sticking out. So what we want to do is make sure that doesn't happen when we straighten up. So I'm here. So if I want to straighten up, I straighten up my whole back by pulling this in, and then my legs really have to take me. I can't just do this. And that creates this sort of sense of the dantian being contained in its cave. So my sinking and sitting flattens out my lower back. So it feels like, from the bottom of your sacrum, where your coccyx starts, all the way up to the skull is just one curve, one positive curve like this. I mean, it's not, obviously, but that's how it feels. There's a sense of unity. It's like we want our riding horse to be pulling us into like a singular thing, a unity, a oneness. So if you think of prowling around, reaching out with you, like you're at a feast and you're reaching out, pulling in handfuls of food. You imagine you're really hungry. Yeah, so this sense of the arms coming out of the back. We want the same feeling here, like my legs have sprung out of my sacrum and curve around. So they have that hugging the tree exercise, they have a tree and they've got their arms hugging it, but they want their legs up to their knees, wrapping around it as well. Feel the three anchor points, so the big toes trying to push down, which is strengthening the arch, the inner arch of the instep. Mind in dantian, and tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So for the dantian to be strong and contained, not leaking, you need tension in the two sphincters and the perineum between them. So there's like a floor, the pelvic floor down here that holds this up, gives it a sense of buoyancy. And just moving from leg to leg. And just think in terms of, it's like your dantian is this really precious object, and your two legs are just moving it very gently from side to side, like it's an egg or something that's really fragile, really easy to break. So you don't want to drop it, but similarly, you don't want to crush it. So my two legs are having to really listen to each other, to cooperate. to move my Danshan. So this movement has to be very delicate. And so this is, in a sense, why we need to pull with the foot rather than push. Because when we pull, it's much more delicate. It's really gentle. So if I want to push, I've got to push quite hard to move this 75 kilos. Whereas when I pull, I can have the slightest tug to actually get the energy going. The pulling happens first, and then the straightening just follows that. If you go and to pick up an object, pick up a cup of tea or whatever, then as soon as you decide to do it, your mind is already with the cup. Your mind isn't with your hand moving towards the cup. Your mind is with the cup and your hand just automatically reaches it. It's the sense here, my mind is already under the foot and I just pull to try and reach that. So my body naturally moves towards where the mind has placed itself. Feel the wheel of the leg, this sense of a circularity that's established itself, and it's that establishing the circle that draws me into the leg. So I sort of loosen my leg. I have to have everything here, weight-wise. I bring up my heel just to loosen the joints of the legs a little bit. And then the energy can flow out to follow my mind. And that is enough to start me moving. So the physical movement simply follows the movement of the energy. And the energy simply follows the movement of the mind. And the mind is activated, is sparked by the spirit. So just try and make sure you get everything into this leg. You can see now why, the sumo leg stamping you know, when they stick one leg right up in the air and then slam it down on the floor, why that's such a good exercise. It strengthens the legs, but it's also working on the balance. That's interesting. When you watch them, they'll often, you know, as they slam the foot down, just before the foot hits the ground, they'll pull back so that it doesn't hit it with a bang. A real delicacy with the way they work, despite their enormous size. Again, feel this cave spreading from the sacrum. You think of hollow chest, you know, so you really round out the shoulders and bring the arms round, and it allows the chest to recede inwards. The same feeling here. The more I can round out here from my back, the more my dantian will recede inwards towards the sacrum. Big toes pressing down. Just feel the tension here in the sphincters and the perineum. Again, it opens up. So local tension allows a relaxation around that locality. So if I can hold all this together, then this will just separate. The inner thighs will naturally separate. And now let's try the two circles. Feeling the give and take. That the arm that's coming in towards you is taking the other person's arm, and your other arm is wrapping around them. Gradually get further round in your turns. So it feels eventually that your back hand is sort of circling behind you. So the backhand that has pulled the other person in ends up circling behind you. This is where that sitting twist that we did earlier comes in useful. So just trying to get the twisting of the spine as low down towards the sacrum as possible. So it's not simply my upper back that's twisting, And then just let it go, become the first warm-up exercise, but with the same sort of feeling. I'm trying to get around as far as I can. So I should be able to see behind me really easily. And not just with the corner of my eyes, but really straight facing. Feel it coming from the action of the legs rather than simply turning from the hips. This leg is pulling, and then this leg is pushing, and then this leg is pushing as well to get me all the way around. So the back leg pulls, and then as it becomes a front leg, it starts straightening to make sure that I continue turning rather than simply come into it. That's a riding horse. Try the tree. Rolling out here. Yeah, so I have to make sure I keep my big toes pushing down because I don't want the widening here to bring my toes off the ground. I want it simply to strengthen the arch of the foot. So I open here and go down. And then I just bring something up from the ground. Force it up my spine, down my branches, or up my branches to the sky. And then I draw something down into the spine, down into the dantian, across the sacrum, down the legs, into the ground, and then up. go down, try and use the hamstrings to pull yourself down. So the whole thing is actually quite tense. So here I'm having to contract something in my core around my spine to pull my arms in. And then here I have to contract here to suck me down towards the ground. And then as I straighten my legs, I'm still sucking at the ground to draw something up. So it's sort of sucking all the way. So this is the sort of tension we want to develop, not a tension that pushes things away from us, but a tension that sucks things towards us. So I suck. This reaches up, but only so that it can suck something down. Back into riding horse. I want my legs, the action of my legs to unify my body so that I'm no longer an upper body settled on a lower body. So the sucking at the ground with the feet and the legs also sucks my upper body onto this structure, the arch of my legs. Let's just go back and forth. Let's just try a bit of this one, the way we normally do it. The same side of the body is either straightening or bending. I'm moving back because this leg is pulling the ground, and that is pulling me towards the foot. This is how I'm moving. I'm not pushing with my full leg. I'm pulling with my empty leg. And then we want it to become the two circles effectively. So as I pull into this leg, it's like it's got so compressed, so intense, if you like, that this hand just circles out like resting on the cushion of air. So as I'm coming into the foot, it circles around. And then this hand comes in and circles around. Feel the legs. So the leg in Tai Chi only really works to move the body when it's at least half empty. So when this leg is empty, it can pull me. But then once it gets more than 50% full, it supports me. And now the other leg has to pull me. But the other leg, once so it's full here and this leg pulls. Now, once this leg is less than 0.5% full, it can then get involved in the movement back because it's now the one that has less than half the weight in it. So only the leg that is basically empty is the one that's moving me. The other leg that's full is supporting me. So the activity is in the empty side, the side that's empty of my weight. It's full of energy, of course, but empty of weight. The other thoughts. Start with this just to get something going. And again, I'm pulling with the empty leg. This leg is pulling, and now it's got 50% of the weight, and this is getting rid of its weight. So now this one can extend and push. Then it's two circles, effectively. But the only real difference is that you're circling around the foot as you come into it. Okay. Feel the sacrum containing the danchan. Legs really spring out of the hips and around. So they're all part of the cave of the danchan. Now you want to try the figure of 8. So what's important about this is the fact that the opposite hand, so my right hand, comes into the left side of my body, particularly into this fold here. So this comes in here and that releases the energy out of my sacrum, which my other hand brings around. And if you look at it, this is in the form all the way through. So the hand that seems to be coming out to push can equally just be brought down into this point to lend some continuity. Just continue, but let's just try for just a few for the wings. So the leg wings, so the skirt. So pulling this energy from behind. So surrounding your legs with this energy from your sacrum. And then the shoulder wings. So now bringing the hand into this point beneath the collarbone. That will release the energy from the back, which the other hand brings around. But we have to be careful when we do these upper ones that it doesn't detract from the legs, which we still want to be sunk. And then the head. So now bringing the hand sort of into the eye and then catching the energy as it comes out of the occiput, bringing it around, and then this hand that's come out comes into this eye. And now just bringing up the leg. So I want to be able to just rest my foot on the inside of the knee. Just let yourself settle into the outside edge. You need to push the big toe down. So a lot of it is just trying not to fall inwards. If you do fall out of your circle. So sort of expanding your base, even though you're only on one foot. And then the other foot comes up. And now circling with the hand as well, just to help the trace go around the foot, like you're doing the circle. Around the foot, and this foot comes up. And I step out, big toe on the ground first. And now I effectively just do a loop around the foot from the big toe around the heel and then back through to the big toe. Helping the visualization with my hand and bringing this foot up in the process. Each time we repeat, we're just trying to sit down a little more deeply into the supporting leg. Yeah, I can sit down. The higher I can pull my knee up, the more that will help me sit down into the supporting leg. So it's difficult. So it's really important to practice things that are difficult, because then you have to become really awake and alive to actually succeed. The image I always use is the image of the surfer on the surfboard. Imagine them, they're standing there really deep on the surfboard, and they seem to be motionless, but the wave is taking them. And imagine just how well trained the body has to be able to make all these little micro adjustments to give this appearance of stillness, and how deep and low they need to be to get their center of gravity as close to the board as possible. And just how exhilarating it must feel. And when you meet them, when you meet surfers, they're just really open and generally really happy-go-lucky people. And connecting the opposite foot and hand. So this right foot, as it goes out, I want it to take my left hand with it. So the hand and the foot are sort of connected. Then as I bring my weight into this right foot, this hand is pulling the other foot along the ground, up the leg to settle on the knee. And then as this one steps out, takes the hand, the other hand pulls the leg. And then let's try just a bit of holding the foot with the opposite hand. There's something about this connection between the opposite hand and foot that disrupts the normal working of the mind. It sort of unsettles. This is what we're looking for all the time, is things that unsettle us, things that force us to sort of reevaluate. Or things that force us to go deeper, really. And then lifting the leg again, but behind. So sort of hold your big toe and pull it. That will stretch the top of the big toe and the foot and just bring a bit of flexibility into the big toe. And if you want, you can grab the little toe with the other hand and really stretch the toes apart. Trying to pull the heel up so that it's digging into my buttock. And the other one. This one again. Settle into the Dan Chan. We don't want this to arch the lower back. My sacrum still feels free, still feels like it's hanging down through what I'm doing. And then just back to riding horse. Get the knees spread, but this feeling here. So when we send the knees out, it tends to stick the bum out. So we then have to sit down into here and create this cup or this cave. Big toes pressing down. Dan Chen, supported by the two sphincters and the perineum. Little tightness in all of them. Tip of the tongue, the roof of the mouth. Capped off by this point. Again, a little tightening in the crown of the head. So the fourfold. So gravity, the earth, pulling down. Levity, the heavens, drawing us up. That's not bouncing from the ground. The rising from the ground is just gravity coming up through a body that can't go any further down. So gravity pulling me down. Levity lifting the spiritual aspect, so the spirit, the energy, the mind, lifting that upwards. And then we have the spirit, which is this sort of spark of vitality. That beautiful quote of William Blake, energy is eternal delight. So that's the feeling. It's this little sprite that's scampering around everywhere. And then we have death, mortality, brevity. So everything finishes. Brevity, levity, vitality, and mortality. And then just bringing it up. Remember, Heidegger's fourfold was earth, sky, divinity, and mortality. So for him, spirit was the gods, which are everywhere. And in Taoism, they have a fourfold as well. So heaven, earth, the Tao, and man.